Hi everybody, and welcome back to another video. So often I get asked about what I did or how I managed to get through this rebuilding phase. How did I manage to get back to this stage of finding satisfaction in my life again after suffering such a traumatic, life-changing event that basically put a stop to everything I planned? But it came down to three things. First thing was getting support. Getting support is absolutely vital. Building a power team of positive people around you that could lift you up. But first I had to identify what it was I needed support with. So mental health, obviously a few physical things at home, whatever. But then it's building a team that can help me with those. So therapy, obviously various professionals out there, but also friends, family, support groups. There's a lot of things out there that I could reach out to in order to help me in those moments throughout life. And it's still something I use to this day, because all successful people out there, the most successful people out there, didn't get there on their own, and they have teams around them to help them with things, because they're also the ones that realize, actually, do you know what? On my own, I can't do everything. So that was vital. And a power team is always evolving. So as you go through life, as I went through life, as I grew, as I sort of developed further and recovered and took on other things and learned, wanted to learn something different, whatever. And I always added members to this power team that can help me with the various different things in my life that's going on. And to this day, it's still evolving now. And it's almost fluid. It's good. The second thing was refocusing. So refocusing was something that I used to basically determine where I wanted to go next. So I knew where I was, I knew what my situation was, and I've obviously accepted that situation, but where did I want to end up? Everything was so up in the air. I had basically a blank canvas. I had to start from scratch. So what I did was, to make sure that whatever I took on next was something that really sat well with me as a person, I made a big list, starting with my values, and then everything that I wanted to try, interests, hobbies, all of that kind of stuff. I made a long list. I wrote everything down, no holds barred, everything. And then next to that, I made another list where I weighed the first list up with my current reality. What I could do from a physical perspective, from a mental perspective, from a financial perspective, socially, that kind of stuff. And I basically shortened this list down to make sure that my action list, the things that ended up on my action list, are stuff that I could realistically do. And then once I had that action list, I just chose one thing from that to start with. And then that one thing I broke down into smaller steps to make sure that I can have achievable goals to get through. And then before I knew it, I was just doing so much more than what I thought I could, by just being patient and just working through it one bit at a time. But yeah, life being life, we all know that nothing's plain sailing ever. And I don't think anybody in this world can ever turn around and say they never face any challenges. Even people we look at and think, wow, they've got the most amazing life, they still face a lot of challenges too. And it's remembering that we're not alone in facing these challenges. So, to get through those moments where I was feeling downbeat, where I was feeling like I'm wanting to give up, I needed coping mechanisms, which is the third major thing that helped me get through and rebuild my life. Coping mechanisms was just this thing that I could use to change my state, to make me feel better, to release those feel-good hormones that could just snap me out of those days where I just felt crap, or where I just wanted to pull my hair up because of frustration as something went wrong somewhere. And then the coping mechanism would just help me regain my focus so I can then get back into the saddle, accept what's happened, reframe it, and then move forward. And for me, I didn't really have anything to start with as a coping mechanism, so I had to kind of learn as I go along and discover things. So I just tried a load of stuff. And at the moment, it's things like exercise, music, writing, breathing techniques. There's reframing techniques that I use, and meditation. They're sort of the main ones that I'll use. And I have quite a few because, depending on the situation that I'm in or where I am, I can use one of these to just change my state if I'm starting to feel a bit crap. So I definitely recommend just trying stuff if you haven't got anything on your tool list. and just seeing how it goes and find that thing that you enjoy that really works for you. But ultimately, for me, it was important to make sure that whatever I did was healthy, because as we know, there are other unhealthy things like drugs and alcohol that's very good at changing our state and kind of making us feel better temporarily, but they kind of lead to further issues along the line, and I didn't want to go down that route. But then that also led me to learn something else, which was any underlying issues don't get fixed with the coping mechanisms. They're very good at making us feel great temporarily, but obviously that it doesn't fix the underlying problems, that they would always be there. So it's really, really vital to get those underlying issues looked at and fixed and sorted. So again, this is where the power team comes in handy. So for me, it was like obviously mental health issues that I was going through. So, you know, I had to get those dealt with because they just weren't going away, no matter how much exercise I did. And the problem is eventually, if for some reason your coping strategy fails or you can't use it anymore for whatever reason, then these underlying issues just catches you out. I've been there and it wasn't nice. So yeah, definitely get underlying issues dealt with. And that's basically it. So in a lot of my workshops, we look at these things in a lot more detail, and we try to kind of get this personalized to the people that attend, because it is quite individual. But ultimately, having a power team, refocusing and coping mechanisms can help us get through most things in life. Thank you for watching.